Hello, good day. This is the session for March 31st, and we're going to see here the review of Unit 3 about comparative and superlative. Okay, if you remember, we have adjectives, yes, and those adjectives have different forms. Do you remember I told you we have adjectives in a positive way? That is when you use adjectives just in a simple form. For example, I am, and then you add the adjective, yes? Or if you refer to a third person, he is or she is, and then the adjective, or maybe talking about things. This building is, and then we use the adjective, yes? For example, this building is big, or this building is high, or this building is modern, yes? In that case, we are using the adjectives in a very simple form. But now, about comparatives is when you refer to two objects. Do you remember? One subject and another subject. So we are comparing. That's why they changed the name to comparative. For example, Mitch is taller than my teacher. In this case, subject one is Mitch, and then the teacher is the other subject. So I am comparing two objects. But let's remember about the rules to build comparatives from adjectives, yes? Well, so we use the comparative adjectives to compare two things or group of things. For example, turtles have long journeys when they travel in the sea, no? Turtles have longer journeys than 3 frogs. Or 3 frogs have short journeys. 3 frogs have shorter journeys than saiga antelopes or turtles. The female saiga's journey is dangerous. The female saiga's journey is more dangerous than the male's. So in this case, they are comparing two kinds of animals, yes, and about the journey they do, if it is longer or shorter, yes. So let's check the spelling very quickly. Do you remember we have, for example, big, bigger, safe, safer, easy, easier. And then there are some irregular adjectives, good, better, bad, worse. Yes? So, according to this, what two letters do you add to short adjectives to make the comparative? Do you remember? What word comes before long adjectives? Do you remember long words, more than 1 syllable or 2 syllables? Which adjectives have an irregular comparative? Do you remember there are some irregular adjectives, yes? What word often comes after a comparative? Adjectives to compare two things. Yes, remember we have the word than. That means the contrasting of the two objects. Bigger than, shorter than, more comfortable than, etc. Yes? So comparative adjectives are used, yes, to compare two things. For example, a tiger is faster than a lion. Spiders are more dangerous than sharks. So we make comparative adjectives in different ways, remember? So as we have seen before, we are going to add ER to short words. For example, cold, colder, high, higher. With two-syllable adjectives ending in Y, we change the Y to IER. For example, happy, happier, easy, easier. With long adjectives, 2 or more syllables, we put more before the adjective. Remember, this is a long word. Difficult. It has 3 syllables. Difficult. Dangerous. In that case, we have to add more. More difficult than, more dangerous than. Some comparative adjectives are irregular. Do you remember? For example, good changed to better. Bad changed to worse. About the spelling, with short adjectives ending in E, the silent E, we add R. For example, safe, safer. In that case, the letter E of safe does not sound, yes? That's why it is called the silent E. With adjectives ending in one vowel plus consonant, we have to double the final consonant and then add ER. For example, hot, hot. It's one syllable, but it has a consonant, vowel consonant, so we double the T, harder. Or big, yes, it is one syllable and it has a consonant, a vowel, and a consonant. So it changed to bigger, so we double the G, okay? So we have now here a very, very short summary just to see the examples. Well, I'm sorry, I know the pictures are not clear enough, but you have this in your book, so you can refer to these grammar explanations in your books, yes? Well, so we have then the group number 1, short words, one syllable. Tall, taller than. Short, shorter than. Example, Alex is shorter than Roberto. Group number 2, words ending in silent E, like large. Then you have larger than. Example, this river is larger than the Amazon. Group number 3, one syllable and you double the last consonant because you have a consonant, vowel, consonant. Like in big, bigger than. Group 4, that's the exception. Do you remember there is always the exception for the rule? For example, slow, slower than. In this case, we don't do any changes in words ending in W, yes? So just add ER, slower. The turtle is slower than the scooter, no? My scooter is slower than yours. Group number 5, 2 or more syllables. For example, interesting, interesting. It has 3 syllables, so we add more interesting than. Beautiful, it has 3 syllables. Beautiful, so we have more beautiful than. Example, Talia is more beautiful than my sister. Then we have group 6 that they are irregular. Good, better than, bad, worse than, far, farther, further than, old, older, or elder than, little, or less than. Example, that car is worse than mine. In this case, these words are irregular, yes? And finally, group 7. Group 7 refers to words that have 2 syllables, but they end in Y, yes? So you drop the Y and you add ER, like in easy, easier, easier than. Don't you forget, please, to use this word than. That means in Spanish the word que. Okay. Now, according to these rules, then we can now do the superlative adjectives, yes? Remember, we use the superlative adjectives to compare one thing, yes, with all the other things in a group. So you have a group of, or a universe of things, and then you choose the best things, yes? And we are going to add similar rules to do the comparatives. For example, you are the best student in the school. My brother is the tallest in my class. Okay? Now, the superlative adjectives, yes, are used to compare one thing with all the other things in a group. For example, the elephant is the heaviest animal. Yes? So in all the kingdom of animals, the elephant is the heaviest one. Sharks are the biggest fish in the world. Yes? Then, the rules here are very, very similar to those when you do the comparatives. You have to divide the word in syllables. Remember, 1 syllable, 2 syllables, 3 syllables. And the syllables in English are according to the pronunciation. It's not like in Spanish that we tend to divide the word, yes, in the written form. So with most short adjectives, 1 syllable, we are going to add est. Yes, so we follow the same rule. But now we change the er to est. Slow, the slowest. Short, the shortest. Now, if you see, we are not using than. In this case, for the superlatives, now we use the article the. It is important to use the article, yes? Then, with 2-syllable adjectives ending in y, we change the y to ist. For example, tiny, the tiniest. Happy, the happiest. With long adjectives, remember 2 or more syllables, yes, we put most before the adjective. Remember, we have to use the article. So, for example, difficult. It has difficult, 3 syllables. The most difficult. Dangerous, the most dangerous. Some superlative adjectives are irregular. For example, good, the best. Bad, the worst. We sometimes use a superlative without a noun when it is clear what we are talking about. Yes, for example, I like all his movies, but Titanic is the best. Yes, so it is very clear that the Titanic movie, yes, we are referring to this one especially. Then, with short adjectives ending in E, we add st, the silent E. Remember, like in safe, it becomes the safe, the safes. With adjectives ending in a vowel plus consonant, we double the final consonant and add est, like in hot, the hottest. Big, the biggest. Yes? So if it happens that you have the book Life 2, you can refer to it on page 171. If not, you have this for Life 3, you have this on pages from 33 to 40, yes? Well, I know this picture is not very clear, but remember, you have this summary in your books. Now, we have the same. Do you remember the groups for the comparatives? Now we have the same groups for the superlatives, yes? Remember, the base rule is that you identify the number of syllables. For example, the tallest, the shortest. Group 1, silent E. Yes, do you remember? So we have the largest. This river is the largest in Mexico. Sorry, I am missing here the article, yes? So, group 3, 1 syllable. So you double the last consonant. For example, big. Remember, it has consonant, vowel, consonant. So we have the biggest. Remember to double the G, or the double consonant. Group 4, that's deception. Do you remember the exception? The slowest. My car is the slowest in the university. Group 5, long adjectives. The most interesting, the most beautiful. Talia is the most beautiful girl on TV. Group 6, irregular. Good, the best. Bad, the worst. Far, the farthest, or the farthest. Okay, the pronunciation here is farthest, and here is furthest. All, the oldest, or the eldest. Little, the least. Example, that car is the worst in the store. Then we have group 7, 2 syllables ending in Y. Easy becomes the easiest. Remember, you drop the Y and you add IEST. Example, this exam is the easiest. Yes? this exercise is the easiest in the exam. So I'm going to correct this mistake. Yes, this exercise is the easiest in the exam. Now, what I suggest you to do is to make a table like this one in your notebook or in your computer using Word, and try to make a list of adjectives, and then try to follow the rule and make a table, no? Long, longer, the longest. Fast, faster, the fastest. Expensive, more expensive, the most expensive. Good, better, the best. Yes? As an exercise, you can do this to practice.